Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita as it is. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is, page number 26. In the last video, we were discussing that one has to remember Lord all the time so that one is able to remember Lord at the time of death. The time of death is not easy, and if you have practiced remembering Lord during your lifetime, then it's possible for you to remember at the time of death. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, meaning always take the holy names of Lord. And how is it possible? The Acharyas give the following example. If a married woman is attached to another man, or if a man has an attachment for a woman other than his wife, then the attachment is to be considered very strong. One with such an attachment is always thinking of the loved one. The wife who is thinking of her lover is always thinking of meeting him, even while she is carrying out her household chores. In fact, she carries out her household work even more carefully so that her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the Supreme Lover Sri Krishna and at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. A strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty and at the same time remember Him. But we have to develop that sense of love. So here Prabhupada has given a beautiful example. In the material world, if a married woman has a lover outside the marriage, not the husband, then that woman, that attraction to the lover is said to be much stronger and much more passionate than the attachment to the husband. The husband is a social phenomena or a social relationship. But when a woman has a lover, that is not approved by the society. So what the woman does is that she keeps her love secret, and because it's secretive, the power of that love is much more stronger. And in order to evade being suspected by her husband, she will perform her worldly duties or wifely duties very nicely so that the husband does not suspect her. Similarly, we are in this material world. We have our duties in the material world. We have our family duties, our professional duties. We continue to do those duties. In fact, we do it much better. But inwardly, secretly, we always think of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lover. Sri Krishna is everybody's lover. He is a supreme lover. Nobody is a bigger lover than him. And so we do our worldly duties, but we always think of the Lord in our heart secretly. You don't have to make a show of it. Another beautiful example is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, where the gopis were all householders. They had a married life, they had husband, in-laws, children, and so on, and they were always engrossed and busy with their household duties. But in their heart, they only had Sri Krishna. So they would do their duty. At the same time, they would simultaneously be always engaged in the thoughts of the Lord, Sri Krishna. So the Gopi Bhav, or the love of the gopis, is said to be the paramount, the supermost, because they are not outwardly making a show of it, but inwardly in their heart they cherish, they treasure that love for Krishna. So here Prabhupada is saying that that should be our attitude. So here Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was the constant companion of Krishna, and at the same time he was a warrior. Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest to meditate. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, Arjuna says that practice of this system is not possible for him. Now here I just mentioned the example of a married woman with Paramar and Gopis' love for Sri Krishna. The Gopis, in spite of being married, were attracted to Krishna. And another example is that of Arjuna. Arjuna was in the midst of the battlefield, the most happening place where there is, every second you have to be on your work. Like you have to be mindful of each second. Any split second of absent-mindedness can cost your life. So he's in the battlefield and he has to fight to kill and fight to survive. Even in that busy platform of the battlefield, Arjuna is constantly thinking of Krishna, and that is the example that we have to follow. So Bhagavad Gita is a very practical guidebook for us to follow in our life. We do our duties outwardly, but inwardly we are attached to Krishna and always thinking of him. Arjuna, when he was advised by Krishna to think of me and do your duty, Arjuna says it's very difficult, it's not possible for him. And what does he say? Arjuna vacha yoyam yogastvaya prokta samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat stitam stiram. Quote, Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 33. Arjuna says, the system of yoga which you just told me is so difficult for me, O Madhusudana. Krishna is addressed as Madhusudana because Krishna killed the demon Madhu. So Arjuna is indirectly telling him, kill this demon of difficulty that has overcome me, this demon of uncertainty or mental puzzlement. I'm not able to decide. So please kill this demon. And Arjuna says, the system of yoga which you said to me is so difficult, Madhusudana, because this mind of mine, this mind is so difficult to control that I will not be able to do this. In our scriptures, actually, this was said by... Anyway, it was in our scriptures. They said the mind is so restless. Actually, Vivekananda said this, the mind can be compared to, we all know that mind can be compared to a monkey. If you have noticed the monkey is always moving. He is never still. He moves from one place to another constantly. His body is constantly in movement. So a mind is like a monkey. The mind keeps oscillating like a mad monkey. So Vivekananda says mind can be compared to a mad monkey who has taken some alcohol. This mad monkey is drunk. So you can imagine how much more difficult it is to control that monkey. So this mad monkey is taken alcohol, and then some bees have stung him. So this mad monkey who is under the influence of alcohol has been stung by a bee or scorpion, whatever, I don't remember. He is stung by a scorpion or a bee, and then he gets possessed by a ghost. So you can imagine so many things all together, and that is the state of our mind. It is so difficult to keep the mind steady. So Arjuna is a very great warrior. He was one of the greatest of warriors. He was ambidextrous. He could use both his hands to to use the weapons. He is called Gudakesha. He overcome sleep. He could sleep at his will. We cannot do that. We are slave to sleep. When sleep comes to us, we have to fall asleep. But Arjuna overcame sleep. He was such a pinnacle of mind control, and because in order to be a great archer, you have to have extreme mind control. So Arjuna was such a great yogi. Even Arjuna is saying, I am not able to control the mind. It is so difficult. It's easier to control the wind, but not the mind. If Arjuna says that, what is our condition? We are the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. We are nowhere near Arjuna. So if Arjuna is saying it's difficult to control the mind, you can imagine our condition. How can we control this mind, which constantly moves 1,000 times in 1 second? That's a mind. So Lord replies, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatma same yuktatamo mata. Quote, of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and this is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Unquote. Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 6, verse number 47. So Lord says, there are different yoga systems, Gyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Yoga, and so many other systems. Lord, the Yogeshwar, the Lord of Yoga, Sri Krishna says, of all these different yoga systems, the most highest yoga system is to always think of me, and that happens in Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, you are constantly attached to the Supreme Lord. Yoga is actually yog. We should be saying yog, but in English we call it yoga. Actually, yog means to attach. You attach your Atma to Paramatma. So that attachment is called yog. And of different yoga systems, the supreme yoga is Bhakti Yoga, where the sadhak, the practitioner, is 24/7 constantly thinking of the Supreme Lord. And Sri Krishna says this is the highest yoga. So one who thinks of the Supreme Lord always is the greatest yogi, the supermost jnani, and the greatest devotee, all at the same time. A Bhakti yogi is constantly thinking of the Lord, and he gets the benefit of the Gyan Yoga, and he's the greatest yogi. So he's at the same time Jnani and Karma yogi, and Bhakti Yoga includes everything, and that's the highest system of yoga. The Lord further tells Arjuna that as a Kshatriya he cannot give up his fighting, but if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So Lord says to Arjuna, because he is a Kshatriya, he is duty bound to fight when challenged to a war. So he's a Kshatriya. If he leaves his duty and goes into the forest, he is incurring sin. It is adharma. A Kshatriya has to follow his dharma. But he can attain the highest position of yoga if he remembers Lord and fights. So he is discharging his duty as a Kshatriya. At the same time, he is fighting. So that is the highest form of yoga, and that's what Lord is advising Arjuna to do. So now we move on to the battlefield where the war is about to begin. Arjuna is overwhelmed, and Krishna for the first time says, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam aswargyam akirti karam Arjuna. How have these impurities come upon you? Krishna is asking, and we are reading the purport in 3 parts. Today is the last part of the purport of the second verse. So, therefore, Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, the source of both the super soul and the impersonal Brahman. So in the previous paragraphs, Prabhupada has very nicely described what are the qualities of Bhagavan, who is qualified to be called as the Bhagavan, and Krishna fulfills all those qualities. There are 6 opulences that a Bhagavan has, and these 6 in the supermost, in the superlative degree, if anybody has, that person is the Bhagavan, and Krishna has those 6 qualities. And so Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, the source of the super soul and impersonal Brahman. So we have super soul in our heart, Paramatma. Krishna is the origin of that Paramatma. And then there is the impersonal Brahman, which the Advaita school thinks is the highest. We want to merge into the impersonal Brahman, and Krishna is the source of that Brahman. In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsmen is certainly unbecoming. And therefore, Krishna expresses surprise with the word Kuta, wherefrom? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on the spiritual realization. Persons who are led by material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan. And they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Now, Srila Prabhupada explained what exactly does the word Aryan mean. The word Aryan is commonly used. In fact, it is so popular that even it has been exported to Germany, where Hitler used the word Aryan, and he claimed that he is a descendant of the Aryan race, not truly understanding the meaning of the word Aryan. The Aryan word means the person who knows the value of life and who understands that the aim of life is self-realization. An Aryan does not mean somebody who is tall and fair complexion, and these are the common misconceptions. Aryan is a person who knows the true value of life. The true value of human life is to know self. Athato Brahma Jigyasa, to know yourself. A dog or a cat or animals cannot do Brahma Jigyasa. They cannot know their Atma. We have been provided with higher intelligence. We should use this human life to know ourselves. So that person is an Aryan. So Arjuna has been referred to as Aryan, and he of course is an Aryan. He is truly qualified to be called an Aryan. But here Krishna is surprised. He says, how did these thoughts come into your mind? They are not becoming of an Aryan such as you. So an Aryan is not to be captivated by the external world, the external energy, Maya. Aryan knows that the aim of life is liberation. Persons with no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsmen. Arjuna was giving arguments why he did not want to fight. He said he is feeling compassion for them. It's not right to kill your family, and so on and so forth. Krishna says such thoughts are not becoming of you because you are an Aryan. An Aryan knows the true purpose of life, the true value of life. An Aryan knows that he is not his body, he is a soul. So Arjuna's arguments are not befitting an Aryan. So Krishna expresses surprise and says, Kuta, Kutastva kashmalam idam vishame samupastitam. How have these impurities come upon you, O Aryan? So with that, we finish the second verse of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, contents of the Gita summarized. Hope you've understood something. Hope you benefited in some way. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being there and for listening. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And see you in the next video. Till then, Hare Krishna.